this is the Unit 1 summary. We're going to be on page 4 of your handbook. So what I'm going to do here is go over the questions with you and give you some hints to help you answer these to be able to study for your test. Number 1 says the biology is the study of, and your hint here is going to be an L, okay? Think about what bio means. Number 2, the smallest unit of life is a, and this starts with a C. That's kind of the first level of what biologists study. It's the smallest unit of life, and it's actually going to be able to perform all those Sternberg functions that we've talked about. Number 3, multiple atoms held together by a bond is called a, and this is going to be an M. So you have atoms, several atoms put together, they're held together by bonds, like H2O, water, okay? What is it called when there's those 3 atoms put together and it starts with an M? Number 4, molecules are classified as blank based on the presence of CHO, CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, this is actually going to start with an O. Okay, what is it called when molecules have all 3 of these elements? Number 5, carbohydrates are made of blank arranged into a blank. So here you want to think about what elements are there. So there's actually 3 elements, and don't write that in, but you should be able to fill in from your notes what 3 elements that carbohydrates are made up of. And they're arranged into a monomer. What's the name of that monomer? The monomer does start with an M, okay? It's not the word monomer, but it starts with an M. And that's the subunit, or the smallest piece or building block of what a carbohydrate is. Number 6, carbohydrate examples include blank, blank. There were several that we talked about. I'm going to write in what they were used for. There was 2 that were for storage. There was one that was for animal storage. Animal storage. And you want to maybe write in both of these, write in what I'm writing, and then write in the actual word as well. There was another one that was for plant storage. Okay, this one was found primarily in potatoes. We see a lot of this item. And then the last one was for plant cell walls. Okay? So these are the 3 functions of those 3 types of carbohydrates. Give me the name of those carbohydrates and use your notes for that. Number 7, carbohydrates are used for blank and energy and cell structure. So carbohydrates are used for something that starts with an E and cell structure. So plant storage, animal storage, those 2 things could eventually be used for this. And then the cell wall is part of that cell structure. Okay? Number 8, lipids are made of, again, these are 3 elements that I'm looking for here, 3 elements. You want to write in the actual elements that are arranged into the monomer or the subunit called something that starts with a T. Okay, a tri something there. Lipid examples include blank, blank, okay? There was one special, very special type of lipid that starts with a P, okay, starts with a P, and is found in the cell membrane. It's very important. Cell membrane. All right? There were also 2 other generalized names for lipids, and that depended on whether or not they were full of those hydrogens or not full of hydrogens, whether or not they were solid, okay, if they were solid at room temperature, or if they were liquid at room temperature. And you really should find all 3 of those. All right. Number 10, lipids are used for blank, and they make up the cell blank. So lipids have 2 functions. They're used for something that starts with an E, And we often said that this was long-term E. And they make up the cell, and I think I might have mentioned that earlier, okay? Some part of the cell that starts with an M. Now for number 11, we're moving on to our third macromolecule. This is our nucleic acids. Our nucleic acids are made up of actually 5 elements. And again, you want to fill in the actual elements. And they are arranged into a monomer or a subunit, a small building block called a blank. That starts with an N. Okay? It's not actually nucleic acid, but it sounds really close. Starts off the same way. Number 12, nucleic acid examples include blank and blank. Here there's 2 of them. One of them should be really familiar to you. It's the code for all living things, for all cells. And the second one, and this is my little and sign, and the second one helps make proteins. Okay? Helps make proteins. Now you might want to be writing down both things. You might want to actually write down the word and the little meaning behind it, a little definition or description to help you study. I'm going to move this down. Number 13, nucleic acids are used for, and I kind of already hinted to you above what they are used for. Number 14, proteins are made up of, and we want to think of the elements, and they can actually be made up of all 6 of those elements that we've talked about. Okay? Do you remember the little acronym or the little word we came up with for those 6 elements to help you remember all 6 of them? Now, not all proteins have absolutely all 6, but they could have all 6. Okay, so we do need to know all 6 of them. And they're arranged into the monomer is 2 words, and starts with 2 A's. Okay? 15 protein examples include, and we have lots of examples. Okay, lots of examples of those different types of proteins. So you want to look in your notes in the functions for proteins, and then within the functions we have some very specific examples. A really good one is one that helps to move oxygen, O2, in the blood. Okay? This one actually starts with an H, really important one. There's another type of protein that's actually a type of hormone. It starts with an I. It helps your body communicate with your body and helps your body regulate blood sugar, so control sugar. Okay, lots of diabetics might have an issue with producing this protein. 16 proteins are used for blank and cell structure. Again, there was, I think, about 6 or 7 different functions we've talked about. Pick out one of those. Pick out something different from the 2 that I've just mentioned, okay? Go back into your notes and find that. And number 17, enzymes speed up blank, okay? They actually speed up 2 words, so to the C, R, okay? So it is a chemical, something with an R, okay? Something goes in, gets worked on, gets changed, something comes out. What is that process called? Starts with an R. And are called, if you speed up chemical reactions and you're organic, you're also called something that starts with a C, okay? Starts with a C. 18, enzymes have specifically shaped a S, 2 words. This is the specific shape. This is the shape that can be changed if conditions are too different. Where the blank fits. And so here we have something that starts with an S that fits into this area, this special shape. This S can also be known as a reactant. Okay? It's what's going into your reaction or into your enzyme. It's what you start with. It starts with an S. You might also be able to use your pink vocabulary sheets for this. 19 enzymes are unchanged during the reaction. So this starts with an actual R, okay? What is that property that they are unchanged and can be used over and over and over again? One thing to keep in mind is that enzymes are actually special types of proteins. So they are actually proteins, and I'm just writing proteins on the side here. You probably have more space than I do to write that down. They are proteins. Changes in blank can denature the enzyme, which means to change its blank, so the reaction doesn't occur anymore. So there's 3 things here that can be changed. There's 3. One that starts with a T, one that starts with an S, and one that starts with a lowercase p. Okay? Can you figure out what all 3 of those are? Make sure you get all 3 of them. Which means to change its, right here, we're still talking about this AS, and sometimes we just refer to that as the shape. You might want to write shape in there as well, but you do need to know that specific term. I'm going to go ahead and move the screen. So for 21, living organisms share 8 life processes. You need to know what all 8 of those are. Let me help you out with them. S is going to mean to make or build. So what you might want to do is you might want to go ahead and fill in the names for those processes or the names of those stronger terms. And then write the little definition beside it, okay? You do need to know the definition. The T is going to be moving things inside the body or inside the organism. But sometimes it might be a plant that's moving water inside of it. E is going to be get rid of waste. Waste doesn't always have to be a bad thing. Waste could just be simply water. It could be oxygen. It could also be things like carbon dioxide that we breathe out. R is going to be, and now the R's can be a little different. They can vary, and so you want to be careful with what definition I give you. But the first R could be dealing with get energy. And energy, you need to know, is ATP. That's just the name of the specific molecule that makes energy. Just like how DNA was the specific name for a nucleic acid. N is food or nourishment. Okay? You're getting food, so eventually you can use it to get energy. With getting energy, you actually have to break down carbs, and those are carbohydrates, okay? Breaking down those sugars that we've talked about. G is going to be increasing size or change your structure. So an example of this was a caterpillar to a butterfly, tadpole to a frog. Okay, metamorphosis is a form of that structural change. The last R is going to be make babies or offspring. And then the last one is to control your body functions. I'm going to have to move through the rest of this kind of quickly. The 2 kingdoms with simple unicellular organisms are, it starts with an A and a EU. Okay, there's 2 of them. This kingdom is complex cells that include amoebas, but sometimes unicellular. This is going to start with a P. You consume food as a decomposer. That's an F. This kingdom is always multicellular and produces its own food. This starts with a P. consumes food and capable of movement, so that's going to be A. This group of agents are considered living, are not considered living.